To page 312. This class is in memory of Charan, and this parsha is Vayetze. Today we learn about a Jew moving out of the land of Israel, if you want, the first Jew, and going to live life, to establish Jewish life outside of Israel. Abraham also left Israel for a short period of time, right? He left to Egypt. Why? Because it was a famine in Israel. Really, you're not allowed to leave Israel. The Israel is the Holy Land, and a Jew lives in Israel cannot leave Israel. He needs a good reason to leave the state, to leave the country. What are the reasons you're allowed to leave Israel? There are three reasons. Number one, if you need to make a living. Number two, if you have to marry a wife, you cannot find a woman in Israel. You're allowed to move. And number three, if you want to learn Torah, there's a certain teacher, that such a teacher you cannot find in Israel, even that other people are satisfied that the teachers in Israel, but for you, that this teacher doesn't make it, you're allowed to go out to learn Torah outside of Israel. When you're done with your mission, you have to come back. Then Abraham left Israel. He was the first Jew, and he left Israel because it was a famine, basically like making a living. But he went for a very short period of time, and then he came back. He came back to Israel. We reestablished his family in the land of Israel. Isaac never left Israel, even that he had good reasons. He had to marry a woman from outside of Israel, right? Abraham sent a messenger to bring the woman to Israel, because Isaac had a special category, because he was offered as a sacrifice, and thank God he was never, God forbid, never touched, but he was elevated to a certain category that he's so holy that he shouldn't leave the country. Until today, there are people who pride themselves that they never left Israel. Jews in Israel who pride themselves that they never left the Holy Land. They stayed there and they made big sacrifices not to leave the country, because it's a Holy Land. Jacob is now leaving Israel. Why is he leaving Israel? For two reasons. First of all, to save his life. He's running away from Esau. The other reason, that what we learn now, is because his father told him, I want you to marry a wife from our family. And he's going back to Charan to marry somebody from his family. That's why he's leaving Israel. His father gave him a bracha, his mother told him go, and he's on the road. And that's what we are now starting. On page 312. Go ahead.
Oh, page 312.
Page 312. Yeah, please.
Yaakov left Beersheba and went toward Charan. He reached the place and spent the night there because the sun had set. He took some of the stones of that place and arranged them around his head. Okay, he reached the place. Which place was he reached? He reached the place. Whenever the Torah says that place, it refers to a certain place. Which place is it? Then Rashi says, in the bottom of page 312, the Rashi number 11, he reached the place. Scripture does not identify which place, but it refers to the place mentioned elsewhere, which is Mount Moriah, about which it is said, and saw the place from afar.
We know already from the other place, before that it's written, he saw the place from afar. Like there is the J, the Shul, the this. The same thing is the place. The place is, for example, here they have the gathering place. There was the place without any introduction to it. The place was the Mount Moriah. Mount Moriah is the place that Jacob had spent the night there. This is the place that Abraham offered Isaac as a sacrifice. And as Maimonides goes backwards, this is the place that Noah, after going out from the ark, offered sacrifices there. This is the place where Adam was created from. Adam and Eve were created from somewhere. That was the place they were created.
I have a question about, I was just thinking of Noah and the altar. so it had to be at Mount Moriah. And then the ark was probably not that close to that area, was it?
So he took a journey.
It was
He landed
in Turkey.
It was in Turkey, you're right. The mountains were in Turkey where he landed with the ark. So it's not written that 24 hours later he made a sacrifice. He went there and he made a
Big
sacrifice.
schlep.
It is a big schlep. It also for Jacob was also a big schlep to go from Beersheba to Jerusalem to Haran. Haran was in Turkey too, by the way. If I remember correct, I checked it last time. It was, if I remember correct, I think it's Turkey. He went there and he lay down. The sun set on him, according to the Talmud, earlier than time. And he lay down there. He took from the stones, put it around his head, and he lay down to sleep. 3:14. And he had a dream. You know, a Jew always has dreams. If he wouldn't be able to dream, we wouldn't be able to survive. That's our secret for survival. Somebody who does not have a dream cannot accomplish anything. If you dream about something, eventually there is a chance you make it a reality. But if you don't dream, will never be anything. Go ahead.
He dreamed, and behold, a ladder was set up on the earth, and the top of it reached toward heaven. And behold, angels of Elohim were ascending and descending on it.
He saw a ladder in his dream. Angels going up and down. Right? This represents, the angels going up and down represents the Torah and the mitzvahs. Every Shabbos in the synagogue, we have the Torah and prayer. Every Shabbos in the synagogue, we have a conversation with God. We speak to Him, God speaks to us. Prayer is we speak to God, it comes from us. We talk to God. The Torah is what God tells us. Every Shabbos He gives us a message. He speaks to us. Every time the Torah is read, He speaks to us. We speak to Him every day, 3 times a day. He speaks to us only 3 times a week. Much less, 4 times a week, and Shabbos twice. And Rosh Chodesh, when you have Rosh Chodesh, we give an extra portion. Then the angels who are coming up are really our prayers, or also our mitzvahs. Every mitzvah that you do creates a good angel. That's the angels are going up to protect us, to defend us, to represent us. And there is the angels who are coming down, are the Torah that God tells us, what His messengers will send to us. And he saw a ladder is standing on the earth and it touches the sky. Really, this message is that every human being, every Jew, has to be a ladder himself. He has to be with his foot on the ground, don't fly in the heavens, but the head has to be in the sky, connected to. That physical materialism and spirituality have to be connected. They have to be one. Your legs, the feet on the earth, and the head in the heaven. And what he saw, and behold.
But before we get there, is this one of the sources for angels being intermediaries, that they carry our prayers to God?
I'm sure that's one of the sources. But what means intermediaries? It's we don't really need intermediaries. They are expressions of God. Extensions of God. They don't have their own identity, they don't have free choice, they don't decide what they want to do.
Can you say it's imagination?
No, it's not an imagination, it's a real thing. The Torah speaks about angels.
They're like gears and mechanisms within a machine.
They're like extensions of God, but it's not like, oh, I need the angels, I need good connections with the angels. They don't have free choice. Then therefore whatever they do is do because God tells them to do. The good angels or the bad angels.
But the fact that they're ascending implies that they're here among us.
There is some who are ascending, some are descending, yeah.
But the fact that ascending is first.
You're right, because it starts from us.
Can you departed be the angels?
Who?
Departed?
What do you mean?
The people have died. Yeah. She's asking if...
Oh, if people who died are angels? No, people who died are bigger than angels. Because we are neshamas, souls. Souls are higher than angels. Souls have free choice. We can become high, we can ascend, we can become higher than we started. We start in one level, and by every mitzvah that we do, we go higher. Angels, wherever they are, they cannot get a promotion. An angel cannot come to God and ask, oh, I don't like to be the angel of death, I rather have a better job, I'm not comfortable with the job, I hurt people. That's what his job is, that's
They
it.
have no souls, they are messengers.
They are messengers, beautiful. Malach in Hebrew means an angel and means a messenger, the same word for two things. Because it's the same idea. He's a messenger of God.
Is it the idea that the angels are basically the same thing as Shekinah?
No,
Shekhinah is more
Shekhinah's
the
the two.
radiance of God,
It's more of a direct connection.
probably. Shekhinah is more direct connection. Even that I'm not such a big maven, you can ask more people. Yeah. But I think Shekhinah is more, yeah. And behold, number 13,
And behold, Adonai stood above it and said, I am.
above it, should be above him. I don't know why it's above it. Hashem was standing above him and said,
I am Hashem, God of Abraham, your father, and God of Yitzhak. The land upon which you are lying, I will give to you and to your descendants. Your descendants shall be as the dust of the earth. You shall spread to the west, to the east, to the north, and to the south. Though you shall be blessed all the families of the earth, and through your descendants.
okay, let's stop here and see what he said. First of all, Hashem was above him, and that's how every person has to feel every day in his life. Hashem is right above him. Right here, standing in front of you. And he told them, I am the God of your father Abraham and Isaac. The land means the land of Israel that you lay on, I'll give you the whole land. And Rashi says, and the word upon which you are lying,
God folded the entire Israel beneath him. Thereby he gave him a sign that it will as easily be conquered by his descendants as 4 cubits, the area taken up by.
okay, what he says, Rashi says here, that God folded the whole Israel underneath Jacob. Was once a child asked the Rebbe, during this moment when God folded all of Israel under Jacob, what are the rest of the people in Israel did? What's the answer? The Rebbe answered them, it was a dream. Not a reality. In his dream, God folded the land underneath him. But God wanted to tell him, this land is going to be your land. And then he tells him a very famous line that Chabad made it into a motto. Uforatzto yomo v'kedmo v'tzafayno v'negbo. God told him, your children will be like the dust of the earth, and you shall spread to the west, to the east, to the north, and to the south. That became a song. The Rebbe made it into like his Chabad slogan. Mission statement. We go, we'll break. Uforatzto means we spread out to all 4 corners of the world. You're not afraid. You need to understand that after the Holocaust, the attitude of Orthodox Jews was to preserve, to survive. Let's build big walls around us and just protect ourselves. Nobody thought that they'll even survive. And the Rebbe came and said, break the walls. We will go and we will spread. We will go out and conquer the world. Because if you protect yourself, society will eat you up no matter what. You have to attack society with spirituality, with love, with a connection to God. And then not only you will not diminish, you will conquer more around you. And since then, that's the attitude of Chabad. And when I saw it, I was in the convention. Sunday night was the banquet. We had a whole weekend of a convention from Chabad rabbis from all over the world. There were, at the banquet were 5,400 people there. It was a huge event. You felt and you saw that the place is literally the whole agenda is about conquering the world, and little by little the world is being conquered. We have a long way to go, but we already went a long way. This is from here it's coming from this verse in the Torah. It comes to Foratzo, the famous song that Chabad had. Page 316. Here God gives them the real statement.
Behold, I am with you, and I will guard you wherever you go. And I will bring you back to this land. I will not forsake you until I have done that which I have spoken to you.
Okay, God tells them, I will be with you. You have nothing to worry about. and I will protect you in everything you go, and I will bring you back here. Such a blessing. Okay.
Yaakov awoke from his sleep and said, "In truth, Adonai is in this place, and I did not know it."
Hashem is here. He suddenly, what means Hashem is here? He realized that this place is a holy place already. And I slept in this place. Sleeping is a statement of relaxing. I'm okay. In a place of God, you don't sleep.
Question.
Even in a synagogue, some people take a little.
This place obviously was visited by Abraham and Isaac, right? They must have told him. So this seems rather strange. In truth, he's saying he woke up and says, "I know that Hashem is in this place." It was already a special place. I mean, this was the place for Noah. It was a place for Abraham.
This is a good question, but maybe at night he was a little lost and he didn't know exactly where he reached.
Okay.
Isn't that one of the interpretations of this, that it's at night? Isn't this the first time that somebody prays at night? Wasn't the night considered a scary time? Isn't like with this
is true that Jacob established the Mariv service.
Right.
Yeah, I heard this week somebody said that why Jacob established the Mariv service. He had 13 children, right? What's better, to go to shul or to put them to sleep? Much rather go to shul. That's why many men go to classes on Saturday afternoon, Shabbat afternoon before Mincha, especially in the summer. They go early to school, to shul. Why? He has two choices: or to deal with 5-6 children who are jumping in his head the whole afternoon, or he can go to the shul. There's air conditioning and coffee and tea, and he can take a good nap while the rabbi is speaking. The choices are very clear. And that Jacob established the Mariv service. This is true.
I asked a question about Jacob sleeping, because I remember reading it when we were going to talk about that. He doesn't get much sleep, does he? When he
Why?
gets to Charan.
In Charan he doesn't get much sleep, yeah. But here he was sleeping. Not in Charan. He was sleeping. He was not sleeping. In Charan he didn't have much sleep. He studied Torah. He didn't have much sleep. But here that night he slept. That's for sure. He was afraid and said, number 17.
How awesome is this place? This is none other than the house of Elohim.
Next page. Turn the page.
And this is the gate of heaven.
This is the gate of heaven. This is the house of God, and this is the gate of heaven. And since then, that's why everybody goes to the Temple Mount. That's why everybody goes to the Kotel. This is the gate of heaven. That's what Jacob said. This is the house of God. That's what they built the Beis HaMikdash, and then became the gate of heaven. That's why we pray towards east, because east is the direction towards Jerusalem. Because the Temple Mount, the Mount Moriah, is the gate to heaven. And whenever we want to go and get to heaven, that our prayers go through the gate in Mount Moriah, to the wall, where the wall is.
Why is there the concept of one special gate to heaven?
I think the concept is that there is one place who is closer to God than others.
And all you need is one, right?
The point is like this. On one hand, you can say God is everywhere, right? But still, there is places who are more spiritual than others, who are more elevated. Because the concept is to take a physical place and to make it holy. That's the goal. When we take tefillin, we take parchment, we take skin of an animal, and we turn it into parchment. We make from it a mezuzah or tefillin. We take something very materialistic, physical, and we make it holy. The same thing, we took a place, it's called Israel, and we made it holy. God made it holy. And Jerusalem even holier, and the Temple Mount even holier. The idea is to take the physical world and to elevate it to God. That's the goal. And until Abraham started the one mitzvah, the bris, he made one organ holy. And the goal is to make everything in the world holy, to elevate the world to God.
Well, isn't it true, I mean, the Kabbalah, I believe, points out that the events that occur in a place are carved into the memory of that place? I mean, is
This
it
is
not
true.
true that part of the reason that this may be a special place is the events that occurred there?
Oh, yeah,
That
absolutely.
elevated this place?
Yes,
Well,
yes,
it's,
yes.
So in other words,
it's in the
didn't-
place and it's in
So
the
it's a
time
cart
and it's
horse,
in
so
the.
it's a cart horse kind of thing. I mean, the place didn't start out holy, but
You're right,
Perhaps.
you're right. The place didn't start holy. Because Abraham was ready, because God created Adam and Eve from this part, and because Abraham was ready to sacrifice Isaac there. And because, yeah, absolutely. A place becomes holy when you make it holy. An object becomes holy when you make it holy. And God empowered the Jews at Mount Sinai to make things holy. Even that Mount Sinai itself didn't become holy, but that's a different story.
So God descended to the earth in that place to start it to be holy.
It's interesting. No, God descended to the earth at Mount Sinai, and this place didn't become holy. It's a place where we were ready to go up to heaven. We were sacrificing. We were reaching out to God. This place becomes holy. Mount Sinai actually didn't become holy. Spoke about it last week. I don't remember why Mount Sinai didn't become holy.
last week.
Huh?
I don't think it was last week.
No. Why Mount Sinai is not holy, and Mount
There wasn't meant to be a place of worship afterwards, that people would go here and say, this is where, but on the other hand.
It's also a spot of problems and
What do you mean? Which Mount Sinai?
Yeah.
Which problems?
the golden calf.
Oh, the Golden Cave. It was a little far, a little away.
Mount Sinai was not purchased.
That I spoke about it Friday night 2 weeks ago. That one of the explanation is we can say that Mount Moriah, David paid for it. David bought it. Mount Sinai, nobody paid for it. Nothing is for free. What I mean with that? When you buy it, you invest your blood, your sweat in it. It was not, you have to purchase it, you have to sacrifice something for it. Mount Moriah was sacrificed on many levels. From Abraham, from the money, from every level. In any case, this is the gate to heaven, that's for sure. Page 319.
Yaakov rose early in the morning and took the stone that he had placed at his head, and he set it as a monument and poured oil on its top. He named that place Bais Il,
Bethel,
El,
yeah.
but Luz was the original name of the city. Yaakov made a vow, saying, if Elohim will be with me, and guards me on this path that I am going, and gives me bread to eat and clothing to wear, and if I return in peace to my father's house, and Adonai will be my God, then this stone which I have set as a monument will become a house of God, and of all that you give, I will surely give a tenth to you.
That started. That what he says, Jacob made a promise. Va'idar Yaakov neder, he made a neder. A neder means a vow. He vowed to God. If God will be with me, and he will protect me, and he will take care of me physically and spiritually, then I will make this into a house of God. And everything that I have, I'll give a tithe. I'll give a tenth of it to Hashem. That's where it's starting. Really, Abraham already started the idea of tenth. Abraham gave it. If you remember, when he came back from
5 kings and 4 kings.
From Egypt.
The war.
On page 139, when he came back from the war with the people, with the other five kings, with the 4 kings who conquered Sodom and Gomorrah, and he redeemed Lot, his nephew. Then it's written here. He gave him a tenth of everything. Avram gave him a tenth of everything. He gave it to the priest. He gave it. Shem was the priest who received the tenth in the name of God, so to speak, a tenth of everything. But here he said, here is again Jacob continues with the same idea.
Question about the name of the city. It says it
Luz.
was originally named Luz, and it's Bethel
Yes,
as well. Bethel. Are they talking about the city of Bethel, which is north of Jerusalem?
I think he named Bethel to the temple where the temple was.
Yeah, so it's not talking about the city, the later city of
But
Bethel.
no, I don't think so.
But I thought Luz was between Jerusalem and Tel Aviv.
Really?
I thought so.
I really don't know. I don't know.
Maybe it was renamed, another city named Luz or something.
There is no today a city Luz. There is Lud, not Luz.
Okay.
Lud is a different city, not Luz. No, there is no such city as Luz. You talking about modern Israel?
No, later biblical Israel, I think. There was
Or maybe there is a city Luz. Today there is no city
became
Luz.
Lida or Lida. Or...
Maybe Lud. Maybe that's Lud comes from the word Luz. Maybe. Lod comes from the word Lud. Lud. Maybe it comes from Luz. Could be. That's between Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. Yes.
Yeah.
Could be that came from the word Luz. I don't know that. That's interesting. No, I never heard that.
But I would think from the context here that it must have been Jerusalem.
I think so too.
The significance of the fact that the multiple stones became one coalesced stone.
That means that everything becomes one. The whole idea from individuals to become to unified. In any case,
Quick question.
go ahead, please.
Well, how it says the house of God, or he says will become a house of God, is that like the prophecy, knowing that the temple will be built here?
Yeah, and he also said, so to speak, then he will make it into a house of God. He will go back and he will offer sacrifices. A part of the problem of Jacob later when he came back to Israel is that he was not rushing to fulfill his promises that he made. And that was one of them. That was the promise, I think. Can continue? Okay, after such a promise, such a revelation from God, Jacob is ready to go to exile. You need to understand, Charan was not just exile. Charan is coming from the word Charon Af Shel Olam, the place that angered God. Why the place angered God? Because it wasn't a moral place. Well, just like Sodom and Gomorrah was the most popular place, and where all the shakers and the movers were there, and the economy was booming, Haran was the place where economy was booming. It was the hot place in the world. Jacob has to leave Beersheba, to leave his parents' house, this religious, nice neighborhood, quiet neighborhood where he learns Torah and nobody bothers him. And he has to take a stick and go to Haran, to nowhere, to a place there is no spirituality, no belief of God, no nothing. And he knows that he has an uncle there that is not a big tzaddik, but he knows that from before. Then before he went there, he was afraid to go. He had the dream, and God tells him, don't worry, I will protect you, I will take care of you. Chapter 29, number 1.
Yaakov then lifted his feet and went toward the land of the people of the east.
He lifted his feet. The Rashi says he lifted his feet because he was so excited. When he heard the good news that God will protect him, it was much easier for him to walk. He was much more optimistic about the journey.
He looked and saw a well in the field, and behold, there were 3 flocks of sheep lying beside it. For from that well the flock were watered. There was a large stone over the mouth of the well.
Okay, he went to the well. As we spoke last week, the well was the place that everybody the gathering place. That was the place, like everybody goes to the mall, that was the place to go. Everybody needs water. Everybody goes to the well. If you want to meet people, you're going to the well. Always there are people coming and going. If he came to a strange land, he wants to know where he didn't have others where Laban lives. He didn't know where to go. He goes there to the place, to information desk, to find out where Laban lives. Continue. Page 322. Go ahead.
When all the flocks were gathered, the shepherds would roll the stone from the well's mouth and water the sheep. They would then return the stone to its place over the mouth of the well. Yaakov said to them, "My brothers, from where do you come?" They said, "From Haran."
My brothers, he approached them. From where do you come? They said, from Haran. From this, the Talmud learns that a person always has to approach other people in a nice way. Brother, how are you?
Positive.
No, exactly, in a friendly way. He said to them,
"Do you know Lavan, the son of Nahor?" They said, "We know him."
it could be translated on a deeper level. Do you know Laban? He said, "Oh, how we know him?" We know him. You telling us who Laban is. Continue.
He said to them, "Is he doing well?" They said, "He is doing well. Behold, Rachel, his daughter, is coming with the sheep."
Isn't this amazing? The same story like with Eliezer and Rebecca. He shows up and right away Rebecca comes out. He stands there and Rachel is right there showing up.
So does God arrange this for him then?
Absolutely. Yeah. You know, in everything, if as we spoke last week, if everything is arranged by God, but it comes to marriages, it's arranged even. God takes a special effort in this. And everything is orchestrated and made sure that you make it as easy as possible, relatively. He said to them,
The day is yet long, it is not yet time for the sheep to be gathered. Water the sheep and go pasture them. They said, We cannot do so until all the flocks have gathered and the shepherds roll the stone from the mouth of the well.
what he says to them is, why are you here already? There's another half a day to go and for the shepherd to go out with the sheep. Why are you so early by the well? They said, we cannot. The stone of the well, or on top of the well, is so big that you need many people together to move it.
I make a suggestion.
Yeah.
I would leave the stone off the well. I would roll it off one time and be done with it. They're rolling it back, they're rolling it forth. Every day they got to find people to roll it.
I think they were
What are they
afraid.
trying to do with
I'll
that,
tell
to
you.
roll a stone?
It's a very good question, actually. I think they were afraid one will steal water more than the other. Then the deal was, we are all coming together, we are moving the stone, and everybody will take the same amount of water, or we will sell you if you want to take more, but it's controlled. And when I think they purposely put this big stone that one person cannot do it by himself. It's like a lock that only everybody together can move it.
And little kids won't fall down so easily through
That's
that
a good.
well.
That's a good reason too. I just heard on the news that in China they found out a letter from 500 years ago. There is some big stone, huge stone in one place in China, and they were always wondering how they moved it. And the story goes that they found a letter that writes that they moved it on ice. They do it through January. They dig like a line of can bring water, and the water froze, and that's how they move the stone in top of the ice. Isn't this unbelievable?
Yeah.
Just the other day. Then here they didn't have ice. It's in the Middle East, no ice, but they had many people together did it.
Inspired the name of a famous rock band,
What is it's ice?
the Rolling Stones.
Oh, the Rolling Stones.
Those small little stones.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
2 truck that big one with it.
They said, We cannot do so until all the flocks have been gathered, and the shepherds roll the stone from the mouth of the well. Then we can water the sheep. While he was still speaking with them, Rachel came with her father's sheep, and she was a shepherdess. When Yaakov saw Rachel, the daughter of Laban, his mother's brother, with the sheep of Laban, his mother's brother, he stepped near and rolled the stone from the mouth of the well. He then watered the sheep of Laban and his mother's brother.
When Jacob saw Rachel coming, got over and he rolled by himself the stone, the big stone. That's how strong was Jacob more than anybody around her. And how old was Jacob at that time? Give a guess.
30,
Wait,
40, 50, 60, 80, 80.
He was 63 when he got the blessings from his father.
He was 80
He was 77.
in 6 months.
he was truly blessed.
He was blessed and he was strong. And he moved the stone in 1 minute. And he gave everybody to drink. And then, go ahead. We are in page
Number 12.
number 12, yeah. Number 11, you want to
You're
miss the
right.
most important thing.
Yaakov kissed Rachel and cried in a loud voice.
Okay, Jacob kissed Rachel and he cried.
First romantic kiss in the Bible, right?
First romantic kiss in the Bible. He was afraid maybe people will translate the kiss in the wrong way. Maybe that's one reason why he cried. Rashi says, why cried? What was the reason to cry? He finally found his love. What is he crying about?
Saw the future.
He
saw the
Sorry,
future.
let's read the Rashi, number 11.
Because he foresaw through divine inspiration that she would not be buried together with him.
He saw already, he had a feeling that she will not end up with him, and that's why he cried. She will not be buried with him. Another explanation?
Because he came empty-handed, he thought my grandfather's servant Eliezer had with him rings, bracelets, and delicacies, whereas I have nothing with me.
Oh, here comes a very interesting story.
This was so because Eliphaz.
Okay, let's stop a minute. What happened here? Jacob came in with empty-handed. His uncle, Eliezer, when his father was looking for a shidduch, Eliezer showed up with gold and presents and everything, and a check that Abraham gave over, a deed that Abraham gave over everything to his son Isaac. Very rich. Here Jacob shows up. Jacob didn't leave home like this. They didn't send him like a schlepper away from home. But Rashi says from the Medrash, Eliphaz, who was Eliphaz?
Son of Esau.
Eliphaz, Esau's son, when Jacob ran away from home, Esau called his son Eliphaz, who was a strong guy, told him, you run after Jacob, catch him and kill him. And Eliphaz was running after him, because Eliphaz,
the son of in order to his father to kill him, and he caught up to him.
But
Since Eliphaz was raised on Yaakov's lap, he refrained from killing him.
Eliphaz was raised in Isaac's home. And Eliphaz was raised by his grandparents. His father was always busy, but the grandparents were babysitting for him. That Eliphaz says, I can't do it. He just couldn't get himself to kill his uncle, Jacob. Eliphaz had a very good influence with his grandparents. Even he had a father like Esau, a red-headed, a guy who was a killer and a raper, and you know what, who knows what, that he couldn't do it. That he told them, and he told them, Eliphaz tells them, but my father told me to do it. What should I do with my father promise? Order. My father told me to kill you. Now what he told them? He gave them an American statement. He said, take all my money, and then I'm considered dead. In America, if you don't have money, you better be dead, right?
But
Then
he didn't have any money.
no, he gave him everything. That's why he didn't have any money. He gave him everything. That's why he didn't have money.
That's why he was.
It's something very, very important here. We learn here the important influence of grandparents. Eliphaz was a son of Esau. But because he was raised by his grandparents, by Yitzchak and Rebekah, and Rivka, by Isaac and Rebekah, he was influenced to a point that they didn't touch Jacob. And Eliphaz had a son. You know what his name was? Amalek. And Amalek was raised by a good father, Eliphaz, right? But he had a terrible grandfather. His name was Esau. And Esau influenced Amalek to hate Jews. And therefore the Amalek are the official Jew haters who hate Jews just because they are Jews. For no other reason in the world. They never met a Jew, he never saw a Jew, he hates them already. Then from these two people, from Eliphaz and Amalek, we see the power of grandparents. I can speak for my life. My grandfather had a huge influence on my life. And I believe that many people who are lucky enough to have grandparents in their lives saw how much the influence was. And here is a perfect example. Eliphaz couldn't kill Jacob. Eliphaz grew up to be a good person, even if he was a son of a terrible guy. And Amalek, even if he was a son of a good guy, grew up to be a gangster and a Jew hater because he was a grandson of Esau. And he carried in himself the hatred of Esau. Even by Hasidic dynasties, you see how every grandchild is more like his grandfather than like his father. It's like skips a generation type of thing. Every Rebbe was more, in certain Hasidic dynasties, not in all of them, were more attached to his grandfather than to his father, to a point. He was more influenced by him. And that's what we can learn from her. That Jacob was crying that he came with nothing. That he had a reason to cry, he had a practical reason to cry, and he had a spiritual reason to cry. Go ahead.
Quick
please.
aside. Why didn't God set it up that Leah would have been the one that he would have met?
Ay.
She could have been the mother of all the kids, would have had one.
We wouldn't have a story.
I'll tell you.
No drama.
No drama.
What's the question?
I'll tell you the answer, you understand the question. Rebecca and Isaac were brothers and sisters, right? Rebecca and Laban were brother and sister, right?
Yeah.
Rebecca gave birth to twin boys. Laban gave birth to twin girls. The older by the twin boys was Esau, and the younger was Jacob. The older by the twin girls was Leah, and the younger was Rachel. Every time that everybody knew that the cousins are going to get married. The older to the older, the younger to the youngest. Every time when a messenger, a traveler used to come from Israel to Charan, they used to ask him, "Oh, from which city are you?" He said, "I'm from Beer Sheva." "Oh, from Beer Sheva?" Rachel used to ask him, "You know my cousin Jacob? How is he? How he looks like?" "Oh, he's such a nice boy. He's a valedictorian. He's the best boy in school. Everybody loves him." And she was just melting. And then Leah used to come over and, "Maybe you know Esau, you know him?" "Ha, he says, "I know." "Sure I know. Everybody in the city is afraid of him. When he rides on his bicycle, when he drives on his Vespa, the whole city, everybody across the street goes to the other side of the sidewalk." Now what do you think was Leah's reaction? Leah cried the whole day, and Rachel was happy. Because she knows that's her destiny, that's her bashert. That's why Jacob kissed Rachel. He didn't just kiss a girl from the street. He knew that Rachel is his bashert. He's supposed to marry Rachel. That's why he came, and he wanted to marry her. Leah supposed to be the wife of Esau. Now what happened? Why it changed? What do you think?
Well, Esau took other wives already, did he not?
So,
Take a few more.
What do you mean it changed? The story?
why Leah end up to marry Jacob and not Esau?
It was a
Because of the
conspiracy.
story.
It was a conspiracy of Leah and
Yeah,
Rachel.
she was the oldest, she was the first to get married.
Guys, but why it happened?
'Cause she didn't.
Why God allowed it to happen?
Rachel gave her the singing over and over.
Why God? Not why Rachel, why Laban, why those, why Yentz.
We're
Why
supposed to-
God allowed it?
We're supposed
If
to-
Leah's supposed to be Esau's wife, and Rachel's supposed to be Jacob's wife, why end up with the whole, with 4 wives in the end? No? Why Leah end up to marry Jacob and not Esau? First of all, it shows us the power of prayers. She all her life she cried, "I shouldn't marry Esau, I shouldn't marry Esau, he's such a bad guy, I don't want to marry him." And she was altering history, her destiny. But why ultimately Jacob married Leah? No.
Because of Rachel. She
No.
felt for her sister.
I know.
No, but
why
he's
God
saying for why does
why
Hashem?
God allowed it. Rachel can make many plans and Laban can make it. You know, it didn't take so much for Jacob to realize that it's Leah, not Rachel. You know what I mean? He could in the middle of the chuppah say, "Hey, you!" Or at least after the chuppah, he didn't have to wait until the morning.
Because he became like the oldest, because he took the birthright,
good.
and
He's the oldest. Didn't he bought the birthright from Esau? that he's the oldest. If he's the oldest, he's supposed to marry Leah. The Medrash says in the morning, and Jacob discovered that that it's Leah, he tells Leah, how dare you lie to me? She looked him in the eyes and told him, really? Who talks? You're talking about deceiving? Didn't you deceive your father? But why it wasn't the deceiving of his father? Why he deserved the blessings really? Because he was the oldest one. If you are the oldest one for deceiving the blessings, you are the oldest one for marrying Leah. Don't compare it. You take the responsibilities with the privileges. It doesn't go one without the other. That's why I married Leah too. That ultimately it's all worked out the right way.
Yeah.
Then we'll skip here and to 326. After walking, we'll read number 16. See, I think you have to read.
Laban had 2 daughters. The name of the older one was Leah, and the name of the younger one was Rachel. The eyes of Leah were tender. Rachel was of beautiful form and of beautiful appearance.
Yeah. Then why she was tender? Rashi says in point number 17 what I just told you.
Because she had thought that she would fall to the lot of Esau, and so she cried.
So she cried. You go ahead.
For everyone would say, Rivka has 2 sons and Laban 2 daughters. The older son would marry the older daughter, and the younger one would marry the
That
younger
explains when there is a message that said that they were twin girls, and they were what it's called that when they are looking alike, identical twins. How could Jacob make a mistake?
Were they identical?
In the morning, yes, Leah, really, we were all day, all night. They were identical twins. They looked alike. They had the same voice. They had the same height,
Really?
the same everything.
What did you mean her eyes were
Her eyes were a
tender?
little tender. They were small from crying. That's it.
Oh.
But they were looking alike, just exactly the same thing. How many identical twins you make mistakes? I make also mistakes every day. Adults already. It took me a while to get to know who is whom. That's how Jacob was able to be deceived, because they were identical twins. Jacob and Esau, we know they were not identical twins. You remember what you learned there? That one was smooth skin and one was haired and with red hair. But Rachel and Leah were identical twins. But Rachel was born first, a minute before Leah. I mean, Leah before Rachel. That Jacob is ready to work for Rachel for 7 years. Okay, we'll turn to page 328.
Excuse me, is there a significance to Lavan's name? That's white, right? Is it just a name?
No, according to Kabbalah, that he makes the sins of the people white. Sins are a sin is red. Red represents sins. Right, in the Beis Hamikdash, they used to tie a robe on Yom Kippur, a red robe, and when the red turned white, they knew that God forgive the sin of the Jewish people. That red represents sin, and white represents purity. But I think what the idea is that through the tzores that we get by Laban, our sins are being purified, and are being purified of sins. Then he agreed with them. Laban tells them, you want my daughter Rachel? No problem. You have to work for 7 years. Everything is 7 in Judaism. Number 20.
Yaakov worked 7 years for Rachel, but they seemed to him like a few days, so much did he love her. Yaakov said to Laban, give me my wife, for my term is completed, and thus I will consummate the marriage with her. Laban gathered all the local people, and he made a wedding feast.
And at this time he was 84 years old. He said, it's not now. I better get married.
When it was evening, he took Leah, his daughter, and brought her to him, Yaakov. He consummated the marriage with her. Laban gave Zilpah, his servant, to her, to Leah, his daughter, as a handmaid.
He took Zilpah, who was Rachel's handmaid, and he gave her to Leah, to confuse Jacob to think that it's Rachel. That's what he did. In number 25, in the morning, when it was in morning, Mark, you want to continue?
When it was morning, behold, it was Leah. He said to Laban, "What have you done to me? Did I not work with you for Rachel? Why did you deceive me?"
Rashi says something very interesting. In the morning, let's read Rashi number 25. When it was in the morning, behold, it was Leah. What happened at night?
But during the night she was not Leah.
Why? Why she was not Leah during the night?
For Yaakov had given Rachel certain signs, and when Rachel saw that Leah was being brought to him, she thought, "My sister may now be humiliated." Whereupon she readily transmitted those signs to her.
Jacob knew Laban. He knew the guy's a liar. That's why he told them when he made the deal, he says, "I want to marry Rachel, Bitcho Aktana." Rachel, your youngest daughter. Not just, I want to marry Rachel, because he can change the names and give Leah the name Rachel and Rachel the name Leah. Your daughter is also not enough. He says, she's also my daughter. That's why he told him, Rachel, your youngest daughter. Your youngest daughter. In Hebrew, it became an expression when you want to tell something to somebody. I want to talk to you very clear. Say, I want to talk to you, Berachel bitcha aktana. To be very specific. Rachel, your youngest daughter. That's how much it became a part of the Hebrew slang. Berachel bitcha aktana. Then even people who don't know the Torah or don't know, they will know this expression. But in top of it, he made a sign, he made up signs with Rachel, that Rachel should tell him at night, and he will know that she is Rachel. What was the signs? That the Medrash says something very interesting. Jacob taught Rachel the laws of family purity, the laws of mikveh. That she has to go before the wedding, before the chuppah, she has to go to immerse in the mikveh. And then she was to tell him that she was in the mikveh. When Rachel saw that Leah is going to get married to Jacob, and she knew that if she will not know about that, he will discover it, she will be embarrassed, that Rachel was ready not to embarrass Leah, and was ready to give up on her husband. An unbelievable sacrifice. She gave up on her husband, she went to Leah, and she told her the laws of marriage, told her, you go to the mikveh, and then you'll be able to tell him that you were in the mikveh. This sacrifice that Rachel made was later in history proven to be very worth it. When the Jewish people were exiled outside of Israel by the Babylonian king during the time of the prophet Jeremiah, that Rachel is mentioned there in the book of Jeremiah. Usually, every prophet, every person that we read a story about him in the Bible, he dies, and the story is over. It's not mentioned anymore. Abraham, you read about Abraham, done. Abraham's story is done. Isaac's story, you don't read in the middle of book of Deuteronomy about Abraham, like, and Abraham went and did. No more stories about Abraham. The story about Abraham is over. Moses' story is over. You read about Joshua. No more. We don't go back. There are two people in the Bible that the story comes many, are mentioned as a story many years later. Rachel and Elijah the prophet. And Rachel is mentioned by the prophet Jeremiah, that a voice in Ramah is heard. Rachel cries for his children. She doesn't want to be comforted. And then God tells her, I promise you that one day your children will come back to the land. Then the Medrash fills in, he says, Rachel came to God and told her, please forgive for the Jewish people. Promise me that one day you'll bring them back for me. If I was ready to do such a thing for my sister, not to embarrass her, I was ready to sacrifice my marriage. Rachel didn't know that Jacob will marry her. At this point, Jacob will say, sure, I married Leah, sure. A good Shabbos, I don't need more than one. Good enough. Then she had no clue what's going to be. And she was ready to give up her love and her husband just not to embarrass his sister. She told the God, she says, you should also give up on your anger and forgive on your anger and bring the Jewish people back. And why you did it to me? And Laban said, what was Laban's answer? Number 26. Laban said,
it is not done in our place to give the younger daughter in marriage before the firstborn. complete the marriage week for this one. We will then give you the other also in return for the work that you will do with me for another 7 years.
If you want to work another 7 years, no problem, mister. We'll give you Leah too. He worked another 7 years, and he married Leah right away, and then he worked for another 7 years.
Yeah, but this time is to say that you loved Rachel so much that it seemed to go like a few days.
That's not written here.
I know.
That was written before.
How come?
And he actually loved Rachel more than he loved Leah, because she was his bashert, she was his wife, meant to be. But Hashem answered, and then he established a family. He has Rachel and Leah, and he starts to have children, and he's having 4 children from Leah. And Rachel, nothing is happening. And Rachel gets upset, and she tells, let's go to page 332, number 1. Look what Rachel saw. Go ahead.
Rachel saw that she was not bearing children to Yaakov. Rachel became jealous of her sister, and she said to Yaakov, "Give me children. If not, I am considered dead."
If not, I am dying. That's what she said. Give me children, she told to Jacob. She came with anger. She complained to Jacob. What Jacob answered her? Yaakov became very angry and with Rachel.
And he said, "Am I in God's place? It is he who has withheld from you the fruit of the womb."
Well, you know what he told her? I have children. You do not have children. Why are you complaining to me? Well, I'm God. The Medrash says God did not like this kind of an answer. Poor women does not have children. Poor wife, you're telling her, well, I'm God. You don't have children. Then what she came up with an idea. She says, I'll give you my maidservant. Who did it before?
Abraham with Hagar.
Abraham. Sarah did it with Hagar. Sarah was ready to sacrifice Abraham to make Abraham have children, even she will lose it. And because of that, Hashem blessed her with a child. Rachel came up with the same idea. She gave her Bilhah, and she had a child from Bilhah. That Leah did the same thing. She gave her maidservant. Before long, Jacob ended up with 4 wives, 11 children. He had the whole family in Charan. Abraham raised his children in Israel. One came out good and one came out bad. Isaac raised his children in Israel. One came out good, one bad. Jacob raised 11 children in Haran. In the worst moral place in the world. The Las Vegas of the, I don't know what, I don't say Las Vegas is the worst. Whatever the place is. And he was able to raise a good Jewish family. And actually, Jacob did much better in exile than he did in Israel. When he was in Israel, it was fighting with Esau. It was never a good day. Then he came back to Israel. It was the tzores with Dinah, the story with Shem, the story with the selling of Joseph, as you're going to learn. With all the tzores. Rachel died. When he went back to outside of Israel, the last 17 years of his life was in Egypt, or the best years in his life. Mm. Then when you see Jacob's most productive years in his life, or in Haran, 20 years, and 17 years in Egypt. These 37 years was his best years in his life, outside of Israel, because the goal is to make from the rest of the world Israel.